For more, let's speak to Shaina Low from the Norwegian Refugee Council. Hello to you, Shaina. That last point that Kevin was making, that Israel suggests that Hamas is drumming up these numbers, and the IPC even inflating its own numbers in this report. How would you respond to that?
The images coming out of Gaza do not lie. The doctors in Gaza who are reporting on this, documenting this, do not lie. The starving colleagues of mine who are deprived of regular access to food, despite being humanitarians trying to save lives, are not lying. Haaretz newspaper, which published a feature where they went on virtual tours of Palestinian hospitals in Gaza, are not lying. This information speaks for itself, and it's a direct consequence, and it's entirely predictable. This is what the humanitarian sector has been warning about for months. Continuous deprivation is going to lead to starvation and famine. And now we finally have the data that confirms what we've been seeing with our own eyes, what my colleagues are seeing with their own eyes. It's not shocking at all to have this news come out. In fact, I think we're surprised that this classification was not made sooner. But as was already stated, that was largely in part to the fact that those who needed to collect the data have been denied access, and it's very difficult with active hostilities ongoing to properly assess what exactly is going on. But the images do not lie. It is quite clear that this is a man-made starvation crisis, a man-made famine, and the world now that it has officially been classified, must do everything in their power to reverse this and save lives. Any minute lost is minutes that could be used to save precious lives.
Yeah, just curious about that. To reverse this and save lives, for the people who are already experiencing famine right now, what can be done?
Well, for many of them, unfortunately, we're going to be too late. This isn't something that can just be reversed overnight. It's not something that can be stopped or prevented or reversed by airdrops. What we need is unfettered access. We need the thousands of truckloads of aid that are sitting just miles away from Gaza to be able to enter. We need humanitarians to be able to reach that aid at the crossing points and deliver it wherever people are in need throughout Gaza, including North Gaza and Gaza City, which has been incredibly difficult to access over the last several months.
Yeah, and that IPC report saying that the situation in North Gaza might even be worse than what we're seeing in the Gaza governorate. How bad is it? Any idea how bad it is there?
As has already been noted, it's very difficult to assess and access what is happening. But I imagine, given the amount of deprivation and what we've seen in Gaza City, what my colleagues in Gaza City are telling me, that it likely is as bad or worse than what we're seeing in Gaza City, because aid agencies have largely been denied any access to those areas, and those people are surviving with whatever they can find.
We've seen international and also domestic pressure in Israel over these plans to launch a full-scale assault on Gaza City. Do you think political will is finally manifesting itself in the international community to maybe pressure Israel to take a change of action, a course of action, and perhaps pursue a ceasefire rather than this full-scale assault?
You know, it's really unclear at this point. We've seen lots of words of condemnation from the international community, but we also haven't seen what the consequences will be if Israel chooses to move forward. States need to hold Israel accountable. It has certain obligations as the occupying power in control of Gaza since 1967 to provide for the basic needs for the population there, to protect the civilians living under its control. And the world has failed to hold Israel accountable for war crimes, to hold Israel accountable for violations of international law, despite them being well documented and acknowledged. And what we need to see is more than just statements of condemnation, but we need to see consequences for failures to abide by international law. I hope that the IPC classification today of famine will push the world to do more to protect lives, to do more to save Palestinians, and do more to put an end to these 22 months of hell, to bring the hostages in Israel home, and to let Palestinians in Gaza start to recover and eventually rebuild their lives.
One of the things that came out of this IPC report, and it's things that other aid groups have been saying for weeks, if not months, is that there's these limited nutritious pace, therapeutic milk supplies for malnourished children. What does the human body go through with a lack of these nutriments that are so important? Can you talk to us about what the body experiences without those resources?
Well, what we're seeing is that, children have distended bellies, swollen bellies. They are gaunt. They are losing muscle. They are losing fat. It's hard for people to speak, to move. There's a lot of fainting happening, including in hospitals. We're seeing even in hospitals that people are unable to donate blood to help those who are being injured in hostilities because they're too anemic. Bodies are shutting down. We're seeing also, of course, other signs of malnutrition, rotting teeth, hair that's turning orange or red due to malnutrition, and other things. But it's a slow, painful death. I think people in Gaza are now waiting to see what will kill them first, bombs or starvation.
Yeah, a slow, painful death, and those deaths sadly look like they're going to accelerate. In the 22 months since October 7th, 2023, 89 fatalities attributed to malnutrition. In the first 20 days of August, there were 133 deaths alone. How quick do you think this increase of malnutrition deaths will be? What will it look like in the coming weeks?
I think we're going to see those numbers continue to rise. I think that those numbers are likely also an underreporting, because those are the numbers of people where there are no comorbidities. So people who have pre-existing conditions are often the first to die from malnutrition because their bodies are already weakened by other issues. And so those numbers are not being counted. So likely we've already seen an undercounting, and we'll likely see many, many more to come, unfortunately. This was entirely preventable. This is entirely due to Israel blocking humanitarian access and preventing humanitarians from reaching communities in desperate need.
Shaina, thank you very much. Shaina Low from the Norwegian Refugee Council joining us from Amman.
Thank you.
And all this